Hello there you guys, welcome to one of my videos. Going to be giving you the player ratings from Manchester United's 1-0 win against Crystal Palace at Old Trafford. So I'm going to start with David De Gea. I'm going to give David De Gea a 6 out of 10. De Gea had very little to do in the game. He was only called into action from long range efforts. De Gea was in goal for the game against Arsenal not so long ago. He made some good saves in that game to deny Aubameyang and Gabriel. De Gea endured a bizarre moment in the game against Arsenal because he went down in the build-up to Emile Smith-Rowe's goal. De Gea went down because Fred stamped on him. De Gea did well against Chelsea last weekend in the first half. He made some good saves to deny Callum Hudson-Odoi and Rudiger. So De Gea deserves credit. He's done really well this season. This season is De Gea's 11th season at Man United, so he has been a long servant. He's been with us since the Ferguson era. He has won everything domestically at the football club. He's made over 500 appearances for Man United in all competitions. De Gea has got under 2 years left on his contract and he receives £375,000 a week. Revert back to last summer, David De Gea reclaimed the number 1 spot back as he did decide to cut short his holiday by 2 weeks to fight for the starting place. And he did say at that time that De Gea was determined to fight for his Man United future. Now, moving on to Diego Dalot. He's going to get a 7 out of 10. He put a very good performance out today. Dalot had some chances in the game. Defensively he was good. He showed some good attacking intent as well. Dalot also played well in the game against Arsenal recently. Obviously, Dalot is our backup right back to Wan-Bissaka, and Dalot only seems to play when Bissaka's not available. Well, Bissaka has recently been out with a hand injury. We revert back to Dalot. Last season Dalot had a loan spell with AC Milan. Reflecting on that, he gained some experience. Man United got Dalot from Porto for 19 million, and Dalot's got a contract with Man United until 2023. Moving on to Victor Lindelof, he's going to get a 7 out of 10. I thought he looked well composed at the back. I like the way he brought the ball out from the back as well. Defensively good. I think he made a poor pass in the second half, but apart from that, good performance. Lindelof's been at Manchester United for like 4.5 years now. Manchester United got Lindelof from Benfica back in 2017 for around £31 million. Moving on to Harry Maguire, he's going to get a 7 out of 10. Maguire put a very good performance out today. I thought defensively he was good and he brought the ball out well from the back. It's the best game Maguire has endured for a long time, if I'm going to be honest with you. Revert back to earlier on this season, Maguire had a calf injury and he was rushed back too soon. Revert back towards the end of last season, Maguire had ligament damage in his ankle. I'm hoping from now under Ralf Rangnick, we can get the best out of Maguire. Manchester United overpaid for Maguire, got him for 80 million, so he's the most expensive centre-half in the world at the moment and the second most expensive signing at the club. Moving on to Alex Telles, he's going to get an 8 out of 10. He put a very good performance out today. Telles is undroppable at the moment. Revert back to what I mentioned on my match reaction. Telles has now started our last 4 games because obviously Luke Shaw's not been available. Luke Shaw's had a concussion. But today, Telles had some chances. He had a long-range effort, just went wide. He also hit the crossbar from a free kick. And I also thought Telles provided width and energy. And he showed some very good attacking intent and he got into some very good positions. Telles obviously only seems to play when Luke Shaw's not available. Revert back to earlier on this season, Telles had an injury. The reason Man United brought him in was to provide competition for Shaw. Man United got Telles for 15.4 million from Porto. Moving on to Fred. Fred's going to get an 8 out of 10. You've probably got to say he was our best player today. Fred scored a stunning goal late on. Fred's in scintillating form at the moment. Fred also played very well against Arsenal not so long ago because in that game he got an assist. And he also won the penalty because he got brought down by Martin Odegaard in the 6-yard box. Fred played well against Chelsea last weekend. He squandered a chance in that game that came from a mistake from Mendy. So I'm hoping, Fred can continue with these good performances. Manchester United got Fred from Shakhtar Donetsk for around 50 million quite a few years ago now. And Fred today, he played some lovely passes as well. And I thought he looked very energetic. Scott McTominay, he's going to get a 5 out of 10. I thought his passing was poor, but he did look energetic, to be fair. McTominay has been part of the club for a long time. Just after the first lockdown last year, he signed a 5-year contract with Man United, so reflecting on that, he committed his future to the club. He has had his good games at Man United as McTominay, but I don't think he's good enough to represent the club. I don't think he can get to that level where we want him to be at, if I'm going to be honest with you. Moving on to Bruno Fernandes. He's going to get a 7 out of 10. He put a decent performance out today. Obviously, we are aware that Fernandes can play better. Fernandes had chances today, but just couldn't convert them. Obviously, Fernandes played against Arsenal recently. He was good in that game because he scored. Fernandes obviously played against Chelsea last weekend. Weren't brilliant against Chelsea. He was good defensively, but lacks that attacking intent. Fernandes has had quite a few poor games this season. But on the other side of things, he's been consistent in a lot of games for Manchester United. He's one of the best players we've got, and he's certainly one of the best signings Man United have made since Ferguson retired. Manchester United got Fernandes from Sporting Lisbon back in January 2020. You know, he has been a United player now for almost 2 years. Revert back to earlier on this season, you know, Fernandes did make it clear that he wants to stay at Man United. He's got a contract with Man United until 2025. There's an option of a further 12 months. Revert back to earlier on this season as well. There was talks about Bruno Fernandes extending his contract and getting a pay rise. Moving on to Marcus Rashford. He's going to get just a 5 out of 10. He did make some good runs today, and his movement was okay at times, but I thought his decision making was poor. Rashford obviously played against Arsenal recently. He wasn't too good in that game, but he still managed to get an assist. I thought Rashford put a good performance out in the second half against Chelsea last weekend. Obviously, Rashford was playing alongside Jadon Sancho up top against Chelsea, because obviously Ronaldo got put on the bench for the game against Chelsea. There is aspects of Rashford's game that's got to improve without a doubt. At one point, he was out with a shoulder injury for a while, and at one point, he had to have an operation on his shoulder. Rashford's been part of Manchester United for a long time. You know, he risen up our academy, he's been a United player since the age of 7, he's been in our senior squad since 2016. So he's been in our senior squad now for a good 5.5 years. Rashford's got a contract with Man United until 2023. Moving on to Jadon Sancho, he's going to get a 7 out of 10, reflecting on his first half performance. You know, weren't that good though in the second half. We seem to be getting the best now out of Jadon Sancho. Sancho recently played against Arsenal, weren't brilliant in that game. Sancho did well against Chelsea and Villarreal because he scored in both of them games. Sancho's got 2 goals for Man United so far. Revert back to when Man United had Solskjaer though. Man United couldn't get the best out of Sancho, because obviously Sancho was getting played out of position persistently when we had Ole. And there again, there was quite a few games Sancho wasn't even involved in under Ole. You know, Manchester United got Sancho for 78 million with add-ons included. Man United paid around 73 million up front. Sancho's got a contract with Man United until June 2026 as an option of a further year. But, you know, Sancho seems to be settling in now, which is good. I think a lot of United fans expected him to settle in straight away, but not every player does settle in straight away. You know, it does take some time. And I said, you know, providing that Sancho's used correctly, he will have a successful career at Man United, because Sancho endured 4 good years at Borussia Dortmund before he came to Man United, don't forget. Moving on to Cristiano Ronaldo, I'll give him a 7 out of 10. Ronaldo had chances today, but he couldn't convert them, unfortunately. There was parts of the game as well where Ronaldo was actually quiet. Prior to this game, Ronaldo was a major doubt, because reports were circulating out saying that Ronaldo is a major doubt for Man United's game against Crystal Palace, as it said he was suffering a knee issue. that he said he got when he was celebrating in the game against Arsenal. Well, Ronaldo got a brace against Arsenal, including the winner from the penalty. Ronaldo now has 801 goals in his career. And he's got 12 goals for Manchester United in all competitions since he re-signed. Ronaldo is the best player in the world overall. He has won, 30 odd trophies in his playing career, including 5 Ballon d'Ors. And Ronaldo's got, back-to-back awards as well since he re-signed for the club. Ronaldo got named Player of the Month for October. He also got named Premier League Player of the Month for September. Ronaldo has got a contract with Man United till 2023. There's an option of a further year. He receives 480 grand a week. That's a substantial amount. He's the highest earner at Man United. Ronaldo wears a number 7 shirt, and we got Ronaldo for under 20 million. Obviously, add-ons were included. Substitutions were brought on in the game. We brought 3 players on. Mason Greenwood obviously came on to replace Sancho. I'll give Greenwood a 7 out of 10. Greenwood looked bright when he came on, and Greenwood got the assist for the Fred goal. Greenwood recovered from COVID not so long ago. You know, Greenwood could find it hard now to get starts, you know, if Sancho continues with, you know, these good performances. Greenwood has scored, 4 goals in the league so far this season. He scored a stunning goal in the 4-2 defeat to Leicester earlier on this season. At one point, though, Greenwood went a while without scoring. Greenwood made his senior debut for Man United back in 2019. He's been a United player since the age of 7, so he's been part of the club for a long time. And last season, Greenwood signed a new 4-year contract with the club. Most of the time when Greenwood starts, he plays on the right wing. There again, in the 2-0 defeat to City earlier on this season, he was actually playing up top alongside Ronaldo. Quite clearly, the Greenwood-Ronaldo partnership doesn't work. Van der Beek, he came on in the game. I'll give Van der Beek a 6 out of 10. I knew he was going to be involved in the game today. I actually thought Van der Beek was going to start. And Anthony Elanga came on. I'll give him a 6 out of 10. So that is your player ratings for Manchester United's 1-0 win against Crystal Palace. You know, Manchester United were totally dominant today. You know, was in cruise control. You know, passed the ball well, dominated the possession as well. The chances were there. Crystal Palace didn't really offer anything going forward. I do recall them having a very good chance from Jordan Ayew. He hit it across the face of goal, did Ayew. I actually thought it was going in at one point. But Ralf Rangnick, you know, wins his first game in charge of Manchester United. You know, I think Ralf Rangnick is going to do a good job at Manchester United. You know, Rangnick is Manchester United's interim manager until the end of the season. And then after that, Rangnick will take a consultancy role for a further 2 years. Ralf Rangnick has been given a 100 million transfer budget for January. He'll be able to get some good players out of that. Rangnick wants Amadou Haidara as his first signing at Manchester United. Amadou Haidara has a £33 million release clause. obviously Rangnick knows him well because Rangnick used to manage RB Leipzig. The Manchester Evening News said not so long ago that Rangnick wants a Timo Werner reunion at Man United. But before Manchester United, Rangnick was the head of sports and development at Lokomotiv Moscow. You know, if Rangnick does a good job as interim manager, do you think he could possibly get the job on a permanent basis at the end of the season? Probably not, because he's taking the consultancy like I mentioned. Man United will definitely get a permanent manager at the end of the season. Obviously, a few names have been mentioned. Pochettino's been spoken about. Erik ten Hag's been spoken about. Mancini not so long ago was mentioned. And Brendan Rodgers, of course, has been mentioned. Manchester United's next game is Young Boys in the Champions League group stage. That will be Ralf Rangnick's second game in charge of Man United. It's a meaningless game against Young Boys because Manchester United are already into the last 16 of the Champions League. So yeah, against Young Boys I'm expecting Ralf Rangnick to rotate heavily. Crystal Palace, they'll be disappointed because they're in bad form at the moment. You know, Crystal Palace enjoyed a pretty decent start to the season. Of course, Crystal Palace were missing players today, only 4 I think. Obviously there was no Ferguson, there was no Anderson, there was no MacArthur because they're injured, and there was no Joe Ward because Joe Ward is suspended. The manager of Crystal Palace is Patrick Vieira. Crystal Palace appointed Vieira in earlier on in the year. Vieira's got a contract with Crystal Palace till 2024. Before Crystal Palace, Vieira managed Nice. Before then, he managed New York City, and at one point he managed Man City's under-19s. Before Vieira, Crystal Palace had Roy Hodgson. Roy Hodgson left Crystal Palace at the end of last season. But I'm glad we beat them today, Crystal Palace. We got revenge on them from last season's game at Old Trafford, because last season Crystal Palace beat Man United 3-1 at Old Trafford. That was the opening game of last season. Manchester United's next league game is Norwich, and Manchester United certainly should be winning that. You know, we've got winnable games coming up. I think under Ralf Rangnick, you know, we can finish in the top 4 this season, and I think, you know, he can win us a trophy or 2, can Rangnick. Of course, Manchester United are going to offload players next year. Next year, I think Martial's leaving. I think Mata's leaving. I think Cavani's leaving. Cavani's already said that he's interested in making a move to Barcelona next summer on a free transfer. Cavani's out with injury at the moment. I think Mata's also going next year. I think Lingard's going next year. I'm hearing that Newcastle want Lingard. Revert back to the other week, it said Lingard's future at Man United is in doubt after talks over a new contract collapse. Lingard's contract expires next summer. I think Matic is also going next year. Matic has recently been out with a hamstring injury. I think he's back now. Van der Beek, I think he'll go next year because he isn't getting enough opportunities at Man United. The only way Van der Beek will be persuaded to stay is if he gets the opportunities he's been demanding under Ralf Rangnick. Good chance Pogba could leave next year as well. Pogba's not available at the moment. He's out with a thigh injury. Of course, he's out for the rest of the year. Jones and Bailly, I think they're leaving next year as well, because they don't really get in the team. Tellez may be leaving next year, but I hope he doesn't, because he's a very good left back and he's impressed me recently. Dalot, you know, he could be going next year, but I hope not, because Dalot's really impressed me recently as well. And Dean Henderson will go out on loan. Henderson's already confirmed he wants to go out on loan. He might as well, because, you know, he doesn't get in goal, because revert back to last summer, De Gea reclaimed that #1 spot back, didn't he? Henderson's only been in goal for one game so far this season. That was West Ham in the Cup. And revert back to earlier on this season, he had COVID. So there you go. Manchester United have sacked 4 permanent managers since Ferguson. Of course, Man United sacked Moyes after 10 months. Man United finished 7th under the Moyes era. Moyes is one of the worst managers we've ever had. Then Man United, of course, sacked Louis van Gaal after 2 years, despite him winning the FA Cup. Then Man United sacked Mourinho after 2.5 years. Mourinho, though, did enjoy one good season at Man United, because he won 3 trophies in his first season. And 2 weeks ago, Manchester United sacked Solskjaer following the 4-1 defeat to Watford. As you all know, after Solskjaer got sacked to give a farewell interview, he got emotional in that farewell interview, which is obviously understandable, because Solskjaer adores the club, and Solskjaer was part of the club for a long time. He was Manchester United manager for almost 3 years, and he enjoyed 11 years as a player for Man United, so that's almost 14 years in total. Despite Man United sacking Solskjaer 2 weeks ago, you know, all United fans still adore him, reflecting on what he did for the club. You know, you can still hear United fans chanting Solskjaer's name. But it was certainly the right decision to sack him, because, you know, Solskjaer couldn't have taken the team any further. You know, he did the best he could, and unfortunately it didn't work out for him. I don't think they really wanted to sack him, but they was left with no choice in the end. Obviously, Man United paid Solskjaer $7.5 million to sack him, because revert back to last summer, he signed a 3-year contract with an option of a further year, and he should have never been given that contract. You know, Man United are never going to be the team there was under Ferguson, and in that aspect we've got to accept that. We just want to be consistent again. That's all we're asking for, and I think under Rangnick, you know, we are going to see consistency. So anyway, guys, back with more videos tomorrow. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless. See you all again very, very soon.